Manchester United 3, Real Betis 2. The way up there, sorry Ronaldo. The scoreline flatters Real Betis somewhat because I thought Manchester United were the better team throughout that game, just sort of tailed off when they made the changes in the last 20 minutes. But I'm Scotty, that's Ronaldo. We've been up since God knows what time. It's 5 a.m. UK now, so we're going to break down what happened before we break down and hit our beds. Ronaldo.
I was going to say, just because we're repeating things.
No, we won't do that one again. Just leave that reference completely alone. I'm trying to stay awake.
Okay. Do you know what? We'll speak about the positives first. And I thought the first team and the team that began were very, very, very sharp. There was a lot of sharp, expressive forward play in the final third. I thought Rashford was very, very sharp. I think that's the sharpest I've seen him in a long time. I thought Amad Diallo was brilliant again, showing the quality that he does have. Just his footballing IQ, his technical ability, the decision he makes. I don't want to get too carried away, but what I'm seeing from Amad in this pre-season shows to me that he can 100% lock down that right-wing position, and he actually might have played himself into a situation where Ten Hag can't not start him come the beginning of the season. I think he's played well enough to get that opportunity. And as I've said, people might think that's prisoner of the moment, but it's not, because I thought Amad showed enough moments of brilliance and enough promise in the latter stage of last season anyway. This isn't like a new thing that's just come out of nowhere. No. And I thought his touch and finish was absolutely outstanding, and he's shown to have a bit of a knack for that. And if he can be the player that he's showing and the player that he can be, he's going to be fucking brilliant for United.
It really is.
Obviously, I think the assist from Harry Amas going into him as well was brilliant. I think after a shaky first game against Rosenborg, Amas looks a lot better. But I know he needs to develop a bit physically in the defensive side of his game, but he's showing a lot of technical ability, and he looks good going forward as well. I thought United were very bright in the early starts of the game, and it was a pretty good first half. I think the quality drop from when the second team arrived and Anthony came on and stuff, it was a big dip. But we also have to be concerned about the injuries as well. You saw Rashford hobble off. You saw Anthony go down the tunnel. Big problems again.
How many are you worrying about them two injuries, Anthony or Rashford? Well, I've just seen Rashford there after the match, and he's walking around and he seems to be all right. It doesn't look as bad as the Højlund and Euro injuries, but I'm sure we'll find out in the next couple of days. The first half, I was surprised actually, because when I saw the team selection, I thought this looks a little bit like 80% of players who United are trying to get rid of this summer and maybe putting them into the shop window. But the football was slick, and you make points there about like players such as Amad, just true professional. His levels never drops when he puts on a United shirt, and he just seems to get better and better. And he's brought into pre-season the form that he had towards the end of last season, and there is no way on this earth that anybody should be ahead of him when it comes to that right wing position come the 10th of August and then into the weeks afterwards, particularly as Anthony got subbed on late on into the game, about 65 minutes, and then found himself charging down the tunnel like an angry wrestler about 15 minutes later. So I'm not too sure what's actually happened there, but he looked mightily upset. I don't think anybody will be upset if he can't make the start of the season. It was great to see Marcus Rashford not only get on the score sheet with a penalty, but also an assist for Casemiro's goal, wasn't it? But yeah, I thought there was a lot to sort of be excited for, and especially when you look at the players that we've got to come back into that team, and hopefully players that we still might sign. Amas was great again. He just seems completely fearless. Brilliant cross for it was a tenacity to get the ball to the point where he crossed it in for Amad as well. But then to deliver a cross that got across to him was great, and really encouraging for him. 17-year-old, he looks about 12 and just doesn't look any sort of like any fear in him at all. But I really enjoyed the first about 60 minutes. Only downside was probably Tom Eaton's quite calamitous goal that we conceded the first half, and then Wan-Bissaka's lack of...
Yeah, Tom Heaton mistake again, kind of giving man, and obviously awareness back post from Wan-Bissaka. Thought when the second team come, the only team that looked like the player that looked level above the second side was Collier.
Yeah.
Collier's really, really impressed me. I think Collier, at the very least, will be a squad player this season. I've seen enough. And a lot of the youngsters, I think they look like they aren't quite there yet. I think Ethan Wheatley, probably why United have come out and bought a 16-year-old in Cheeto and said that he's probably going to be third choice. What do you think about that if you're Ethan Wheatley?
If you're Ethan Wheatley, you've got to be a bit disappointed, aren't you, I suppose? Because he's not had that much of an opportunity to try and carve a place in that, in that squad. But we'll see. It's certainly an area where we're thin up top. But what have you made of the pre-season? Then lost against Arsenal, but then we beat them in penalties in the same game. We beat Rangers. We've beat Real Betis. Now we've got the Scousers on Saturday.
It's been a hard pre-season to judge. I think there's been enough positives. I think there's been some really, really good performances from players. Obviously, the emergence of Toby Collier has been a great side of it, because I think we love when youngsters come through the academy and they show that they can add something to the team. Especially when United are a bit tied a little bit when it comes to the market and the funds and PSR. When you have an academy graduates that are basically free to come through and do a job, it's a big help and it's a big factor, because people are forgetting the Mainu coming through. At a time when United were chasing De Jong for 3 windows, it kind of like alleviates that pressure, and then United can focus elsewhere. But I thought Ahmad has looked brilliant. You got players playing themselves into form. I thought Mount getting the opportunity to play more because Bruno's not there. There's caused some positives, but the actual true analysis, the true kind of proof in the pudding will come when the season begins, and that's like literally
10 days?
10 days away,
days, yeah.
9-10 days away, and then we see if that United have enough. I think United still need to make a couple of signings. I think the midfield area needs to be dealt with. I know Casemiro looks a little bit leaner, it looks like he's slightly in a bit better shape. I just don't think he's quite the player that we need in that position if we want the season to go differently, because I did say on a watch long last season, as much as we had centre half injuries as big of an issue, I think the midfield was just as big a reason for our defensive frailties as the centre halves were, and they were also a big part of the fact that we had a lack of ball progression. It was just not. It was a very weak part of our squad, and with 10 days left, we haven't addressed it yet. Apart from the fact that we've got Collier emerging through the academy, but it just remains to be seen. I don't want to be too negative, because I think United have actually had all right, very good spells in either game. And it's just about rounding those spells into 90-minute performances consistently, and that's what we'll have to see from United next season.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a game ahead before the lads come back from America, and that is Saturday, and we'll be back doing the watch along there. But player of the pre-season, can there be any doubt? Is future Ballon d'Or winner Amad Diallo?
Yeah, Amad Diallo's been player of the pre-season so far. And he provides a balance out there, and when people have been asking for the winger partnership of Garnacho and Rashford, I think for a midfielder, for a striker like Højlund, that wouldn't make sense. You need a more ball retentive, kind of technical player, one that comes inside a little bit, offers a little bit different, not as just that dynamic head down, striving for goal type of winger that Garnacho and Rashford is. Which is half the reason why Højlund was starved of service. I think if Garnacho and Rashford are to be the starting wingers, then the striker would have to be Xerxes, because he probably fits them two a little bit better than Højlund was. But at least United now have different options and different dynamics that they can turn to in the front three. It's just about shoring up behind it, which is the centre-half position. Obviously, Euro being injured, being out for 6 to 8 weeks is a massive blow, and it's probably going to force our hand getting into the market. And then you've got the midfield issue that's not been addressed either. But we'll have to see how it goes.
Miles asked the question, you've both had reservations on the manager, but have you seen progression in tactics or hints of a style of play so far this pre-season? I think in terms of a style of play, I saw that most in the Rangers game. There was a lot of triangles and there's a lot more sort of pressing, high pressing in that game. But it's difficult to tell because it's not been a consistent 11 each game. Have you sort of had faith restored in Ten Hag during this pre-season? Is that what you're expecting from it, or is like you said, the proof going to be in the pudding when it comes to? It's when he gets his strongest 11 where you're going to be able to see what's been happening.
There's going to be absolutely no excuses for Ten Hag this season. Obviously, he got them last season with the unfathomable amount of injuries that he had to face, and so much like disruption off the pitch as well. You've got Ineos have come in, have backed him with coaching staff, revamped the kit. The only thing that you can't say is fully been backed in this season yet is like 3, 4, 5 transfers in terms of ingoings. But then again, a lot of money has been spent on players under the Ten Hag's tenure. It is his 3rd season now. No manager's going to get much leeway in their 3rd season. He's got to start producing proper performances, proper results, and a proper sign of progression. Otherwise, the scrutiny will start again, and we will be able to see that when the season begins. There's been a few tactical differences for sure in pre-season. I think we press a lot better. I think our defensive setup in terms of the way we press teams looks a little bit braver, and that it looks different in that sense. I think we also have a lot more patterns and keep the ball, and we look kind of expressive and dangerous in the final third, and that's in every game that we've played. But we still do look like we can be got at a little bit defensively. But then again, you put a bit of stock into pre-season, not too much, because it's a different ball game, and we'll see how that works out, Scotty.
We will indeed. Join us on Saturday for the watch-along against Liverpool. Hopefully we're joined by Joe McGrath, and we can watch Amad Diallo. It'll be amazing. Once more, and like the last time he faced Liverpool, made them all cry. I've been Scotty, that's been Ronaldo. Thanks everyone who watched the watch-along and the review and stayed up with us, or if you're already up wherever you are in the world. Much appreciated. We'll be back very, very soon.
See you later.